Pontypool in hoops, going from left to right and tightening the screw. The match controlled by Winston Jones of Gwaun Kai Girwen. 8 minutes into the second. Over a try. All those points are penalties. Bishop's break. Arthur Emir waits. Under pressure from Bishop and also Mark Brown, the flanker. Good ruck, but no scrum half. Bishop's there now. And again, he makes them backpedal. It cuts the line. Well, actually, it must have been just inside the line. Mr. Norling, watching carefully, stated that it was in on the bounce. Norling running the line on this southern side underneath the new developing stand. Mark Brown brings it down. Perkins tidies up. Number 2, Steve Jones, Burrows. And there's a variation in tactics. Instead of letting it go, they drive on. And the ranks of Swansea give a little. And still the Pontypool pressure's on. It really is a magnificently drilled pack. And to think that they've lost a couple of internationals, Butler this morning, Windsor during the game, and they're still able to do that to their opponents.
I certainly wish we had this packed on a Clacky a couple of years ago. We would have beaten the world.
Seven is Hewish. He's packing on the buttock of the great Graham Price, the cornerstone of this Pontypool pack. Now this is the kind of range which is interesting and tempting for Bishop. A 22-year-old, a headstrong scrum half. He might break. Swansea fanned out. Squire takes the pressure off the scrum half. He finds Hewish immediately inside him. Gareth John is up to grip Hewish, but Pontypool have won it. Goldsworthy into space. It's been covered by Hugh Davis. The little Swansea scrum half breaking out bravely. My word, that was a very dangerous attack by Pontypool and well dealt with by Hugh Davis.
Nice chip right into the gap there. He saw the gap and chipped for it, but Hugh Davis covering like a good scrum half should and finding a good kick to touch on the run. He looks for a counter-attack. There's no one with him. Puts it safe.
Steve Jones, perhaps for the end for Mark Brown. I don't think the referee will think it straight enough. Interestingly, Swansea began the game by dominating the line-out, with Moriarty and Clegg winning as and when they wanted the ball. Pontypool pull themselves together, and they're winning a lot more now. That's Hugh Davis again. This time, his kick is in touch on the full. No ground gain. So the crowd, I think, perhaps wanting a little bit of spectacle now. The drama, the excitement's all there, but the entertainment value perhaps could be higher. Quotient anyway. Bishop placing it in front of Hewish for the flanker to run onto. He's well tackled by Gareth Roberts. Pontypool ruck beautifully. Lyndon Faulkner placing it behind Arthur Emma. Dangerous moments for Swansea. In touch with the goal line just over there in the background. Lyndon Faulkner's little chip.
Pontypool's problem has been all game, all the forward domination. They're failing to convert all this pressure into points.
That's Mark Brown, the tall 6'4" former Cwmbran product, who's keeping Moriarty and Mark Davis on short rations now at the lines out. He goes out on Dacey. Gareth Jenkins' kick. It's loose. Faulkner. It's into space. It's dangerous. It'll be picked up by Perkins. The play is underneath the all-white posts. Swansea have offended. They've held onto it on the ground. They prevented Pontypool rucking. And it's not a difficult kick at goal. That's the 22. Peter Lewis goes back as far as that point to kick at goal.
good kick ahead by Blethen Taylor. He's on it like a flash, and I think Swansea's trying to smother this ball, not let it out.
It's quite an awkward kick, John, because Swansea didn't realise the danger until rather late.
It bounced very badly. Oh, Perkins is on it like a flash, like a true sprinter as he is.
Here's Peter Lewis with an important kick at goal. He puts it between the posts. More points for Pontypool. (12-6) they lead, and that will satisfy the Pontypool ranks at the western end of the ground. And the great cry of Pula comes up from their throats. It's a Pontypool throw, not far from their opponent's 22, and that's this remarkable 6'4" man, Mark Brown, at the tail end of the Pontypool line. What good hands he's got to add to that natural height. Number 6. Squire picks up. Hewish 7 is with him. They spin them all infield. That's the 22. Perkins joins in. Number 2, Steve Jones. Quite phenomenal work, but now they need points. It's all very well to look at that. And how's Goldsworthy's drop-it goal struck? Blethen Taylor's going to score. Try for Pontypool. That's the try Pontypool wanted so badly. It's put them 2 full scores clear. Blethen Taylor scored the opening try in the semi-final, does it at the national ground. An element of luck about it, John Williams.
Yes, it was a good rolling ball first of all, and there comes the inevitable drop goal. I think he's tried 4 in this game. This one hit the post, but as I say, good chasing by Pontypool, and this time it's Blethen Taylor up like a good wing should be, and it's under the post.
You'd have enjoyed a bounce like that.
Yes, they didn't come too often at the end of my career, I can tell you. But it's just what the game needed. We needed a try.
Now we may have a conversion from Peter Lewis. It's worth 6. It's 18-6 to Pontypool. And the sheer cauldron, which is the national ground these days, is seething and bubbling. And the Pontypool support, which we think is at the western end to the left, is really making itself felt and heard now. Really, it is remarkable how Pontypool have been able to snuff out the Swansea back division. This is the man who's been the general behind the Pontypool 8, David Bishop. Tremendous tactical contribution. And again, it's loose for him to pick up. Things not going right now for Swansea. Little mistakes being made, which surrender the advantage to their opponents. Steve Jones' strike for Pontypool. Gough Davis again chasing it. Arthur Emmett drops back. It's difficult. The play halts on the Swansea 22. And this is bound to be remembered as a final in which the territorial dominance was almost complete. Surely 80% of this game must have been played in Swansea's territory. There's that man Bishop again. Drop it goal, left foot. It's off target, but it's still dangerous. Blethen Taylor could find himself unmarked. Lee Jones hurries around, number 12 for Pontypool. Dacey is there to get hold of him for Swansea. But even when outnumbered, Pontypool seem to be able to drive Swansea back. That's the determination and the motivation, surely, John Williams, of a great coach like Ray Prosser. It must be coursing through their veins.
That's right. They waited a long time to come to this, to the cup final. And fair play, the Prosser plan is working a treat, isn't it?
That's the 22 of Swansea. The pick-up by Squire, the running by Hewish. Squire's with them again. And more chances. Bishop might score! The referee brings them back a little way for an infringement about 15 metres out. A near thing, John Williams.
Yes, another appeal by Hewish. Jeff Squires following on. The ball was dropped forward from the tackle from Jeff Squires or Hewish, and definitely a knock on, no try.
Hugh Davis clears. It's awkward for Peter Lewis, and that's all he can do. Eight minutes of the 1983 Schweppes Cup final left. Pontypool 18 points, Swansea 6. The game seems to me to have slipped irretrievably beyond Swansea. They haven't shown themselves remotely likely to get back into it, and now they're being toyed with by the Pontypool 8. Somewhere up in the stand, Staff Jones and Butler, the missing men, and coach Ray Prosser will be savouring this display of forward power. Lee Jones, number 12 for Pontypool there. Pontypool lie on it, though. They make it impossible to ruck. Swansea get a penalty. Be interesting to see if they run this one, John. Probably they ought to.
Well, they've got nothing to lose. There's no point them kicking a touch because they haven't won a line-out for the last hour of the game.
Well, it's still a kick for position, and even that's not going right. Peter Lewis taking the careful way out.
Peter Lewis.
The points on the board, Peter Lewis's.
One thing I'd be very disappointed in this game is that the line-up play by Swansea, expect them to win a lot of line-up all through Moriarty.
Wins like that, though, have been all too rare for Swansea. Hugh Davis sets off to show what damage might have been done if Swansea had supplied more regular line-out ball. Thinking back to the beginning of the game, they were dominant for about a quarter of an hour.
That's right, but I think they've relied too much on Dickie Moriarty. They've used him in the front, they've used him in the back, and it's easy to mark one man.
Hugh Davis behind Peter Lewis, but possibly too full, but still danger. Over the dead ball line, a narrow miss by Gallagher. 14 for Swansea. In the game once or twice in the first half, this 22-year-old, but closed out like the rest of the Swansea backs in the second half. But bounce kind to Pontypool, John.
I can't understand Hugh Davis using the blind side. I don't know why he doesn't pass the ball to Malcolm Dace and use Tony Swift in the centre. They're playing into Pontypool hands by playing the blind side.
22 dropout. Goldsworthy for Pontypool. Swift advances. Hasn't had the ball in his hands more than once or twice in the cup final, strange though it will seem. And coach of Swansea, Ian Hall, himself once an international centre, is bound to be disappointed at that. Spare a thought too for other men who didn't make the final for one reason or another. David Richards, Mark Wyatt, probably disappointed the way the game has gone, the Swansea players. Now Swansea move the ball. Arthur Emme gets a chance. Look at that Pontypool cover, 5 of them. No way through for the Swansea wing. Instead it's Bledin Taylor who's kicking clear as far as the halfway line. The ball is picked up by Bishop. Moriarty's got hold of him. And that was nasty and unnecessary. David Bishop butts Richard Moriarty, and there will be a penalty for Swansea. And there was no need for young Bishop to have done that. And he deserves this lecture. Have another look, John.
Again, a good counter-attack by Pontypool. They're onto everything. If Swansea make any mistake, they're onto it in numbers. They tackle well, and they all chase.
That's the incident. Meanwhile, Malcolm Dacey is risking all to get Swansea into action. Clegg thunders towards the Pontypool 22. Hugh Davis delivers. Dacey to Gareth Jenkins, to Tony Swift. Blythe has joined the three-quarters. He turns Bledin Taylor, who has to get back and cover for dear life. Swansea are dying bravely, and they're not dead yet. though there are only 2.5 minutes left. They trail 18-6. Arthur Emir have seen so little of the ball, and Roger Blythe hasn't been able to get into the midfield with any of those characteristic bursts of his. This is Goldsworthy tidying up for Pontypool. It's in touch. Goldsworthy, the second half of Pontypool's tactical think tank behind the scrum. Standoff half. 1.5 minutes of injury time has now gone by. For Graham Price, one of the great moments in a great career, I should think. About to be the collector of a cup tankard. One of the very few honours which has eluded him in the game. 41 caps for Wales and all his tests, but I bet he'll prize this honour as much as any. The loosehead prop, Mike Crowley, a word of commendation for him. He's fitted in so well after Bobby Windsor had to leave the field after 11 minutes. And still Pontypool able to thrust them back. That ball's in space, which is being covered by Peter Lewis. Pontypool evidently feeling that at last, in injury time, at the end of the game, they can move the ball. And nearly doing it successfully. Clegg, though, is in the way, one of Swansea's locks. And makes the ball safe for Swansea. Barry Clegg, the king of the line-out for 20 minutes of the match. But then his effort fading. Not healed properly. The referee goes over to the side where Crowley and Gareth John are propping against each other. Swansea win it this time. Dacey moves it to Gareth Jenkins. Blythe is there, but the marking is so intense. Faulkner was on him, but Blythe had no option but to kick. And Blerin Taylor counter-attacks and is in touch. The try scorer, April the 30th, 1983, will always be a red letter day in Blerin Taylor's rugby career. Pontypool's heroes, Hewish at the back, Squire, Mark Brown wearing 6, Martin Jones, Butler's last-minute replacement this morning. John Perkins jumping high. Crowley and Price, and Steve Jones just joins them all to see if they can move Swansea back a bit. Pontypool showing us forward craft right to the end of the game. Martin Jones and Perkins down to Hewish, back to touch. Mr. Winston Jones looks at his watch and it will tell him that we've had a large amount of injury time, 4.5 minutes of it. Meanwhile, Steve Davis rather, about to throw the ball to a Swansea side which much feel dispirited. They've been taken on up front and given a whipping. Hewish has the ball. Perkins adds his weight. Swansea's corner flag is in shot. Bishop's waits on the left. It's over. It's Pontypool's Schweppes Cup. And look at the broad grin on the face of Ray Prosser, Pontypool's great, if not legendary coach. It hasn't been the saddest of springs for Ray personally, but today will have been a consolation of a kind. A cup win for Pontypool. Wearing number 11 in the middle, Blerin Taylor, the man whose try really sealed the match, which had been set up for Pontypool by the pinpoint kicking of Peter Lewis. Pontypool leave the national ground the victors by 18 points to 6. They win the Schweppes Cup for the first time. Well, John Williams, former Llanelli Wales British Lions winger, what are your thoughts on the game?
Well, as expected, David, it was very poor indeed. But you've got to respect the Pontypool style. The Ray Process style of rugby was magnificent today. We saw it at its best. Even when Bobby Windsor went off, Crowley, a substitute, came on and fitted in perfectly. And in fact, it strengthened the side, if anything. Very impressed by the way they played the game. As a spectacle, I don't like watching it at all. I wouldn't like to see that every Saturday. But you've got to admire them for the way they play the game.
Meanwhile, Jeff Squire accepts the cup from the president of the Welsh Rugby Union, Hermas Evans. On their first appearance in the final, Pool win the cup. Listen to their supporters. What a happy moment for Jeff Squire. Let's hope there are more broad grins like that in New Zealand this summer for the great Pontypool back row forward. Let's spare a thought for Eddie Butler, from whom Jeff took over the captaincy this morning, and also for Bobby Windsor, who had to leave the field with a hamstring injury about 11 minutes into the game.
But Jeff, congratulations. How does it feel?
Thank you, Martin. Yes, marvellous win. Boys played tremendously. Did win according to plan. Superb.
What was the plan? As if we could.
Well, can you guess? Well, we tried to put them under as much pressure as we could up front. Put a lot of pressure on them in the scrums, particularly. Try and get our share of the line-out ball. And if we could do that, pressurise their backs, we knew we were in with a chance.
Are you surprised that you could succeed against them so early in the set scrums? Because about the 7th or 8th scrum, you started pushing them back.
Yeah, well, we knew it was going to be difficult. We just put all noses to the grindstone and hope for the best. We just kept plugging away, that was all.
And the individual performances, I saw you applauding Mark Brown at the back of the lineup. Did some tremendous work against some seasoned internationals.
Yes, he's very good in that direction. We picked him for that particular job. He did it excellently.
And the man of the match, I have no doubt, will be David Bishop. A great performance from him.
Yes, he likes the limelight, this guy, and he played right up to our expectations today. I think he controlled matters and orchestrated events.
What about the Swansea performance, Jeff? Were you surprised that they folded a little bit against you in the cup final?
Well, I don't think they folded, did they? We knew that we had to pressurise them as much as we could, because if you give those boys a little bit of space, they can be deadly behind the scrum. And thankfully, it went according to plan. I don't think, I think it was as much us as their lack, really.
Were you ever worried?
Oh, I was worried right up until the end there.
Were you, really?
Yeah, well, you never know. I mean, a side like that, they can come back, one score, converted tries, 18-12, you never know what can happen then. It's nice to have two scores